What's up guys, it's John here at Outlaw Harley-Davidson. Today we're going to be talking about the 2024 Road Glide 3. The styling on this trike may look a little bit familiar. The body is the same as the freewheeler in years past, but it is highlighted up front by the Road Glide fairing that you may have seen on other touring models. We've got several color options to choose from on this model. With the black trim, we're gonna have Atlas Silver Metallic, Vivid Black, and Sharkskin Blue. And with the chrome trim, we're gonna have Red Rock, Vivid Black, and Billiard Gray. All great colors, all of them look great on this body. Up front, we've got dual halogen headlights, super bright, you can see whatever you need to see on the road. Performance-wise, we've got the 114 cubic inch Milwaukee 8 engine, 90 horsepower, 119 foot-pounds of torque. It's got all the power you need. It's gonna make for a great power plant on this thing, all backed by a 6-speed transmission. We've got a 19-inch wheel up front, 18s in the back, 49mm forks up front, and hand-adjustable emulsion suspension in the back. This thing rides as good as it performs. And with the Road Glide fairing, there's a lot less swing weight due to that frame-mounted fairing. This thing rides like a dream. This thing has got that frame-mounted fairing on it. There's no swing weight up front. It barely even feels like you're turning anything. Makes it great for long-range touring as well as cornering around in town. Anything you want to do, this thing handles great. The tech on this bike is amazing. It's got all the gauges you would expect to have. Fuel gauge, speedo, tach, voltage gauge, but it's accompanied by the Boombox GTS radio, 6.5-inch touchscreen display. It's got everything you could want whenever you're out cruising. If you do have things to haul around whenever you are out riding, this thing has a 2 cubic foot trunk on it, loaded from the top. You could really fit anything you could imagine in this thing. Helmets, jackets, riding gear. If you're traveling, you can fit your luggage. It's sweet. We've also got anti-lock brakes. The anti-lock brakes keep the wheels from locking up on you, and they also take into account when you're cornering to keep everything evenly distributed, keep all 3 wheels on the road. If you're coming to a stop on decel, it's got drag torque slip control. Basically, when you're decelerating, it's gonna keep those rear wheels from locking up. Once again, everything this thing can do to keep everything planted firmly where it's supposed to be, it has. And last but not least, tire pressure monitoring system. One of the most simple features you have on a bike. Real easy to just see where your tire pressure is at. It's important. Now we're gonna take this thing out on a ride. We'll come back and I'll let you guys know what I think. All right, everybody, here we are atop the Road Glide 3. Gonna take this thing on a little bit of a test ride. See how she does. We picked a beautiful day to do such a thing. But it's Kansas City, gotta love it. Couple things right off the bat that I noticed. You sit so comfortably on this thing. My hands don't feel like they're stretched out too far. My butt is planted pretty firmly in the seat. Legs are comfortable. Really, it's a comfortable riding trike so far, especially just in the parking lot. I know a lot of bikes have the features of being a comfortable bike out on the road, but they're kind of a pain in the parking lot. That's one perk of the Road Glide 3 is that, for one, you got 3 wheels to keep you planted while you're maneuvering slow. But also this thing just feels good. Come in and sit on one, you'll kind of get what I mean. Downshifting feels pretty smooth. Everything you would expect out of a Harley-Davidson. Right off the get-go, want to mention that heated grips would have been a nice option. Coming up to that last line, I said a downshift's pretty smooth. Upshift is just as smooth. The controls feel great. I don't know if ergonomic is the word you want to use, but turn signals are easy to access. All the lighting controls, horn, high beams. I've got pretty small hands and everything's pretty easy to get to. brakes work great. One thing I could tell is it's hard to be able to tell with those electronically linked brakes. It's hard to be able to tell when they're in fact doing their thing, which is what you want. If you have tech on your bike that helps you stop or helps you corner, I find it best to not have stuff that you notice when it's working. Everything on this theme seems seamless, effortless. So far, so good. In the corners, I don't feel like I'm about to topple over the edge of this thing. Everything feels like it's pretty sturdy on the ground. Front suspension is what you would expect out of Harley-Davidson's 49mm forks. Rear suspension's been adjusted to my weight. It's like riding on a couch, honestly. I could see putting in some serious seat time on this thing. We haven't really gotten it up to a high speed yet, but so far the wind is not even an issue on my face. There's no helmet buffeting, anything like that. So at low speeds, anything so far around 40 miles an hour, it's a pretty comfortable ride. Man, in corners, like I said, it doesn't feel like you're trying to get thrown over the top of the bike like you would expect out of a trike. Really just eating everything up. Yeah, and like I said, 90 horsepower, 119 foot-pounds of torque. This thing's pretty peppy even for its size. You know, you don't realize that you're on such a big machine compared to a Harley-Davidson touring bike or anything like that. It really does feel like you're on a nimble little hot rod, it's really cool, really different to feel. Even compared to some of Harley's touring bikes, this thing feels nimble and light, agile. A little bit higher of a pace right here. I can tell you, still feel absolutely nothing as far as wind goes over the top of my helmet. Everything's directed just around me. For stock exhaust, catalytic converter, baffles, everything is bone stock on this thing, and it sounds great for what it is. So far this thing is sweet. The nice thing about a Road Glide 3 is that it's a big bike, and if you're transitioning from a bike to a trike, the Road Glide 3 is a great option. If you've been riding for multiple plus years and you're just now transitioning to a trike, it's great, but it also kind of fits in the category of if you've never been on a bike before. If this were to be your first bike or trike, you know, it's a great option because you have the comfort and stability of a trike, but you've also got all the convenience of having a bigger bike. You got the big fairing, you've got touchscreen radio, all the instrumentation you could possibly want, and you've got the power basically at your disposal. It doesn't feel intimidating to ride though. With the twist of a throttle, you can really experience everything this bike has to offer, but at the same time, when you're just cruising around, it doesn't feel like you're on something that doesn't want you there. Which, like I said, it just makes it a great bike for experts and beginners. A lot of times with trikes, the downfall is having one wheel in the middle and two out on the back. Kind of makes for an uneven ride. When you hit bumps, kind of feels like it's bucking you one way or the other, and I don't feel that at all on this thing. Really is just a great cruiser. So far, I can't say enough about how well this thing rides. Had to stop and clean my visor off a little bit, and the person behind me was kind enough to let me know that the light was green, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I don't mean this sarcastically. Kansas City is a wonderful place to visit. The people here are amazing. On a typical day, the weather is usually a little bit better than this. Plenty of things to see. Outlaw's, minutes away from Kauffman Stadium, see a Royals game. Right next to that, you got Arrowhead. Watch the Chiefs. The dealership's in a great part of town where it's close to everything, but also kind of situated on 70 to where if you want to get out of town, you can get out of town pretty quick. Tons of dining option, things to do for the whole family. The clutch feel on this thing is awesome. It's smooth, just like pretty much every other Harley. It's got a wet clutch setup. Harley-Davidson recently did go back to a cable style clutch, but you really don't notice any difference in this versus a hydraulic style. Less maintenance to worry about on the cable clutch anyway. But I mentioned earlier I got smaller hands, but got plenty of reach to the levers. I don't feel like the bike is too big for me. I mentioned earlier this thing's got dual halogen headlights up front, which is, it's really an awesome feature. I know you really can't see much of the benefits right now, but at nighttime this just lights up everything that's in front of you. Get up here on the on-ramp, we might be able to see how this motor performs and or how well the traction control performs. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah, you guys got to get out here and test ride one of these things, man. I promise you won't regret it. A lot of people want to say, oh, the Road Glide 3, yeah, it's pretty quick, it's pretty powerful for a trike, but for any vehicle period, trike, bike, this thing has some pep. I was not expecting, I guess the power that this thing feels like it delivers. And it's in a straight line. There's no pull one way or the other. It really feels like you're on rails. And if you needed to, I mean, there's still that lightweight steering up front. Everything handles great. Going down the road, I know earlier we were kind of low speed. I was talking about how well the suspension feels, but on the freeway, this thing, it's, I don't know how a better way to describe it, but it's like riding on a couch that's doing 65, 70 miles down the road, whatever the speed limit might be right here. Mentioned earlier, it's got drag, torque, slip control, so like that, if you're coming to a stop on a slippery road and you downshift and let the clutch out, it'll prevent you from locking up your rear wheels, getting sideways. This thing truly is just in a class of its own. I can't remember the last time I've ridden a new bike that felt like it had everything dialed in this much. Like I said, get out here, test ride one for yourself. I think everyone, if you got even a remote interest in bikes or trikes, this is a bike you gotta ride to feel it for yourself. Kansas City is the perfect place to do it. I can't think of a better ride to experience the city than on a Road Glide 3. My director's gonna laugh at me. I turned into the wrong parking lot. That's alright. Let him know I wanted to show off some tight parking lot corners. Come back in here. Here we are back at the mothership. And that is the Road Glide 3. Hop off this thing, maybe get a hot cup of coffee, and we'll come back and I'll talk a little bit more about what I thought. But so far this thing it's phenomenal, you guys. Come out and see for yourself. So that's it, everybody. Just got back from my ride on the Road Glide 3. Needless to say, this thing is sweet. It handles great. It's got all the power you could ask for. The tech is all there. All of the safety features on this thing is so seamless, you don't realize that it's doing what it's doing when it's doing it, but you feel confident and you feel comfortable. Come out and ride one for yourself. Hit like, hit subscribe, click the link to check our inventory. Come see us. We'll see you next time.